Hello, welcome. My name is Zac, and this episode I'm going to just talk about a little word that I learnt. I didn't learn this word recently, but I read about it recently. It's called Hokum. Now, I looked up Hokum in my dictionary, and it means nonsense. And the only reason I found this word was in the Sunday Times this week. There was an article, a little insert in the culture section for upcoming TV, and about a documentary on Netflix. I'll just read it for you here. I've got it written down. Ancient Apocalypse. Journalist and author Graham Hancock parades his pseudo-archaeological hokum in a hugely bingeable series that explores his theory that a great flood 12,500 years ago wiped out highly advanced technological societies. That was Helen Stewart in the Times, in the Sunday Times. I'm also reading One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Casey, and there's an introduction to it, and there's lots of bits and pieces about certain theories about mental health. And one that I found was by a chap called Thomas Shaz. I don't know how you pronounce that. How do you pronounce that? I don't know. And he wrote a book called The Myth of Mental Illness, and he was a famed psychiatrist. So, you know, he's sort of dissing on his own stuff. And he wrote in his book in 1960, the idea of the illness is scientifically worthless and socially harmful. Interesting point of view, because that is where I'm coming from with the SHP Project. It's about us being duped into being doped. And with that I mean that this idea that our emotions are controlled through medication and through, I don't know, all sorts of, like, what was it, lobotomies in the Victorian times. You're locked up for being slightly mad. You basically, it feels like we have had a society, and we're still in it, of punishing people for expressing emotion. And rather than getting to the root of it, or even just accepting that we are different characters, it's almost like we have to mold people into just sort of disappearing into the background. And you see, our imaginations, our thoughts, our brains, our minds, it's like the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside, isn't it? It's this beautiful sort of kaleidoscope of wondrous, exciting, and often sometimes sad, often sometimes colour. We are colourful. We operate in waves. Our emotions are in waves. We're up and down. We're left and right. We're never the same. It's always different. So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps what we've been taught is hokum. Perhaps what Dr. Thomas, I'll call him that because I can't say his surname, perhaps he's kind of hinting at something real, in that the way that we treat people with mental ill health is wrong. In fact, we should be celebrating the fact that they have this emotion, that they have this depth of emotion, and they're just, in this world, we are unsure how we can express it, because when we express it and we let go, that's when we are classed and labelled as mad, eccentric, harmful, dangerous, all those sorts of things. It's never something positive. It's always something that is a danger to society, or you're a bit too odd, you're a bit too strange. You know, human beings are emotional. And yes, some people are out there, they're able to control those emotions far better than others. But that doesn't make the ones that can't, doesn't make them wrong. It just makes them who they are. And, you know, that attitude that we have, this attitude of we need to box you and label you and tell you that you're ill, tell you that you're this, that's what leads to self-harm. That's what leads to thoughts of suicide, because you feel like you don't belong to this. That's where this is coming from. Hokum. Hokum is nonsense. And I'm here to argue that actually nonsense is the society we're living in, and our emotional response to it is perfectly bloody normal. Here endeth my lesson. Stop recording. Goodbye.